Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's edition of Boredom Busters with the Lincoln Children's Museum. Today, we are going to be talking about soil. This whole week, we are talking about farming and agriculture. And soil is a very important part of agriculture. This dirt, well, what is dirt? Is it different in different places? You know, Nebraska actually has 138 different kinds of soil. It may be difficult to tell just by looking at it, but I bet that there are a couple places where you have found soils that are different from each other. So we have our video recommendation today is from SciShow Kids, and it's called What's the Dirt on Dirt? It's a good video, talks a lot about how different soil compositions, what they're made of, can make it a big difference for what that soil is good for. And we have our book recommendation today. It is called Up in the Garden and Down in the Dirt by Kate Messner, and we have that linked, and the one that is linked on the video is actually read by the author herself. And that book is all about the things that are down in the soil in the garden underneath your plants. Now, one really important thing, regardless of the kind of soil, is the worms. So, help Kazoo count the different worms. They're all different colors here. See if you can help him figure out how many of each color worms there are. And we have a song recommendation today as well. It is the Soil Conservation Song. And there's some good information in there as well as it having a catchy tune. Now, as we've been doing all week, Gus is here to help us learn about agriculture. Now, print him out, cut him out, and while you're doing any kind of agricultural learning at home, take a picture of yourself with Gus doing any of these activities that I'm showing you this week and submit it to the Farm Bureau Foundation for a chance to win a book. All right, well, soil is pretty neat. There's more to it than what meets the eye. So today, one of our activities for the science portion, we are going to make a sediment jar. Now, soil, there's different particles in there. There's different sizes, different things in there. There's small rocks. There's parts that used to be plants, the organic matter. Now, there's the grain size, the size of those tiny little particles. Geologists split them up into different categories, like silt and sand and mud. So let's take a look over here. I collected some soil samples this morning. I got soil from a few different places, and I recommend this for you as well. Go around maybe in your yard or near your home. There are different places where you can look at soil. Now, you need a little shovel. I got a magnifying glass because I love looking at things up close. And you'll need a jar with a lid that's tight-fitting. You'll also need water. So, first one here, soil. This is potting soil. So this is the kind that you might buy to put into your flower pots. Now, this soil had plants growing in it last year, so there are some little roots in it. And there's these little white rocks that helps with the moisture, so the water is even in that soil. Now this one, I collected this one just by the side of the street, and you can see there's There's a lot going on in here, isn't there? There's some dry grass, some roots. There are some rocks in here. There's all sorts of stuff in here. Now, let's see. This one I collected down by Dead Man's Run. You know, the little kind of creek thing that runs through Lincoln. And this one seems to be pretty sandy. Now, I'm wondering if that is because this sand is actually what they put out when it's icy. All right, and then this one I collected. You know how they've been doing some digging around. And this one is from where we're digging. So there's some clay in there, all sorts of things. So now what you need to do, choose the soil that you're going to put into your jar. I'm going to put in some of this soil. So you want to fill it up about halfway with soil. And then you're going to fill it up mostly to the top with water. I brought a nice big pitcher of water. So fill it up. Now the water will help those clumps break down. And look, you can already see that that water has gotten kind of muddy, kind of dirty. And you want to shake this up. That will help to break up those lumps even more. And right now, it looks kind of just like a mud shake. It's all the same color. But we're gonna let this sit while we do our art project. And we'll take a look at it and see what happens over the course of about 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so our art project today is also soil. So what you need for this project is some dry dirt. You'll need some glue. I just brought my big one out. You'll need some water also, paintbrush, paper, and a couple of containers and a sieve. So the first thing that you need to do is break up any lumps in this dirt. I'm just using a rock for that. I was thinking, should I use a hammer? What should I use to break up this dirt? But I realized I would use nature's hammer. All right, so I've broken up most of those clumps. And now we need to sieve it out. We need to get just the small. So the only ones that will go through are the ones that are smaller than the little holes here. There we go. And look at that. Already, just the finest dust is coming through. And once you do this, if you would like to, you can go back, dump this out, and start crushing it up again. Maybe you'll get a little bit more dirt out of it. We are making paint out of soil. Did you know that some of the first paints that people ever made were made out of soil and clay, like red ochre? Red ochre was used to paint caves a long, long time ago, thousands of years ago. All right, let me grab this water. Now you only want to put in a little bit of water and then a little bit of glue. That's about an ounce of, a little less than an ounce of glue. 1 full pump would be an ounce with this big guy. And then you need to stir it up. And if you start with just a small amount of water, you can always add more if you need more. But that looks pretty good. So look at the color that this soil is now. It's a very different color than it used to be. All right, and when it's all stirred up, you have your paint. So something you can do, go around, collect those different kinds of soil, and then make a different color of paint from each location. Now, with this, then you can paint. Let's see, I think I'll paint a flower. And the glue helps those pieces of soil stay together when they're on the paper. And if it's a little bit too thick for you, add just a little bit more water. I feel like mine needs a little more water. And if you want to make your paint even smoother in consistency, after you put it through the sieve, if there's some old nylons or pantyhose at your house, sieve it through that, because even smaller pieces will come through there. It's a fun way to paint with mud. I remember when I was a kid, in the backyard, they took out and put in regular plumbing, but that meant that there was a big hole in the backyard that then the construction workers filled up with fill soil. So not the stuff from the normal ground, but it came from, they brought it in, and it was very, very, very fine grained. My sisters and I, my mom was not very happy about us, but we mixed water in with it, and we called it nature glue. It was perfect, perfect for painting, and we certainly did paint with it. All right, so there's my flower painted out of soil. Now you can see that if I had a couple different kinds of soil to turn into paint, I might be able to get some different colors. All right, well, let's take a look at this jar. So far, I'm seeing the bigger pieces have settled out. And in the middle here, that's starting to settle out too. There's still some cloudiness up here. So make your jar, let it sit for a long time, maybe even a couple of days to get everything to settle out. And then you can see all the different things that were hiding in that soil. Now, I'm going to go ahead, once I go today, I'm going to make the rest of these into sediment jars too, and let them sit all day and all night. And tomorrow morning, when we come back for our next Boredom Busters, we can take a look at how they all settled out. Because tomorrow we're going to be talking mostly about and eggs, but I think it's just fine to look at the dirt one more time. Now, I do have a joke.
Okay.
Why did the farmer bury his money?
I don't know, Miss Greta, why?
He wanted his soil to be rich. Because a nice rich soil, that's what farmers and gardeners say about soil that has a lot of nutrients in it. Because plants, remember, plants need sunshine, water, and nutrients to grow. Now, usually those nutrients come from the soil. The different things in the different soils have different nutrients in them. So this farmer, he was being pretty silly, and he thought that if he buried his money, then the soil would be rich. Thank you everybody for joining me today. I hope you all had a chance to check out Read Aloud Lincoln's story time, and hopefully you'll see them again tomorrow. They usually do them at 10 o'clock, and also on Sundays they do one at 9:30. Now I'll be back again tomorrow at 10:30. See you then.